last thing, the most important piece, is we're going to take the North and never give it back.
Subscribe.
Take that. Take that.
Welcome to 3 Point Stance Pod, where we don't claim to be experts. We just give our takes. Take it or leave it.
We'll be fine either way. Let's go.
Hello 3 Point Stance viewers. This is Octavius Vernell Brown reporting for 3 Point Stance Podcast. Call me OV for short. Take a second to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. It helps the show in a big way. Thank you in advance. Now let's get into this episode called Ryan Poles, King of the Contingency Plan. Contract extension eligible players are the biggest topic Bears fans have been arguing about at this point in the offseason. They have already theorized who's getting paid and who's getting the axe based on recent injuries, poor performances, or draft capital invested in these players. While we don't think Ryan Poles has decided the fate of anyone, it's safe to say the Chicago Bears GM is the king of contingency plans. What do we mean by that? I'll explain, but first, quick question. Do you feel any Chicago Bears player is a lock to get an extension? If so, name the player you feel is a lock in the comments. Back to Ryan Poles' contingency planning. Any position with an extension-eligible player, the Bears have backed up with a capable replacement. Don't believe us? Let's take a trip down memory lane. I'm sure every Bears fan looks back on the Roquan Smith holdout and contract extension saga of 2022 with fond memories, right? Yeah, probably not. Jack Sanborn was signed as an undrafted free agent linebacker out of Wisconsin. Most seen him as a camp body, while a few with a great eye for talent, like friend of the show Swift Sports Network, seen him as an undrafted gem capable of playing any linebacker position in the Bears' Tampa 2 defense. Sanborn made a great impression locking down a roster spot and played mostly on special teams the first half of the 2022 season. Well, what do you know? As luck would have it, Roquan Smith gets traded and Jack Sanborn becomes the starter in his place. He then proceeds to lead the NFL in tackles over the remaining games he played. I know, you're thinking, just dumb luck, right? That dumb luck found them a solid placeholder until they signed Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards, two of the top linebackers in free agency. The cost of both, just $4 million more than the $20 million per year Roquan demanded. Don't forget they even drafted Noah Sewell in the 5th round of this draft for Jack Sanborn insurance. Not convinced? Need more proof? No worries, we got you. The Bears drafted safety Jaquan Brisker and cornerback Kyler Gordon in the 2022 drafts. It made sense as they needed to provide help to play opposite of safety Eddie Jackson and cornerback Jalen Johnson. They also drafted Elijah Hicks in the 7th round and signed undrafted free agent Jalen Jones in 2022. Both made the roster and contributed to the defense to some degree last year. Elijah Hicks played in 15 games and started 2. Jalen Jones played in 16 games and started 4. To further add to the secondary to start the 2023 offseason, they drafted cornerback Tariq Stevenson in round 2. Next, they added Terrell Smith, a versatile cornerback who could possibly transition to safety, in round 5. Lastly, they added safety Kendall Williamson in the 7th. Ryan Poles and Ian Cunningham did 3 things with all those additions. 1. Added first-year starter potential talent. 2. They bolstered secondary depth. 3. The last thing those additions provide? Jalen Johnson and Eddie Jackson insurance. Here's why. A. In case either of those 2 underperform in 2023. B. In case of injury. C. In case their extension asking price is too high. And wouldn't you know it, both Eddie Jackson and Jalen Johnson missed games and suffered season-ending injuries in 2022, and both players are up for extensions going into the 2023 season. Now let's do the offensive side of the ball, where coming into the 2023 offseason, Ryan Poles had a laundry list of contract extension-eligible players on both sides of the ball to consider. On that list for the offense, David Montgomery, Darnell Mooney, Cole Kmet, and 2022 trade deadline acquisition Chase Claypool. Let's see here, let me check my notes for how he helped rebuild the running back, tight end, and wide receiver rooms while also preparing contingency plans just in case. Oh, here I got it. David Montgomery signed with Detroit for $6 million per year. POLES responded by signing Dante Foreman, Travis Homer, and drafting Rashawn Johnson out of the University of Texas in the 4th round of the 2023 draft. Cole Kmet had a career year in 22 with 7 total touchdowns, but Ryan Poles still signed Robert Tonyan to a 1-year deal. Not sure if you've heard, but Tonyan's career high in touchdowns with Green Bay is 11. Bears offensive coordinator Luke Getsy was also on their offensive staff then. There's a bringing in our guys theme developing, not sure if you've noticed. As for wide receivers, he traded for Chase Claypool and DJ Moore to upgrade the wide receiver room in one of the biggest glow-ups since the Kardashians discovered plastic surgery. The Bears didn't stop there. They struck gold in the 4th round of the NFL draft, taking lightning-fast wide receiver Tyler Scott. When Tyler was drafted, the immediate reaction of media pundits and Bears fans was, he's gotta be Darnell Mooney insurance. I'll say this, you never know what Ryan Poles is thinking, and while he could be insurance for Darnell Mooney or Chase Claypool, in today's NFL, you can never have too many weapons at wide receiver. So, what's the contingency plan for Chase Claypool? They gave up a 2nd round pick for him. What if he walks? Let's talk about Chase. DJ Moore was acquired when the Bears traded back with the Carolina Panthers from the number 1 pick to pick number 9. While DJ Moore is an obvious upgrade to Claypool and Mooney, he is not the quote-unquote plan. In that trade, they also acquired an extra 1st round pick in 2024 and a 2nd round pick in 2025. They have positioned themselves well to go after either Marvin Harrison Jr., his Ohio State teammate Emeka Egbuka, or any of the top wide receiver talent in the 2024 NFL Draft. So the only questions left to be answered are as follows. Are Claypool and Mooney both in prove it or lose it extension battles? With plenty of cap space, but also a plethora of extension-eligible players to re-sign, would Ryan Poles extend both if they ball out and the price is right? Will Ryan Poles make the decision to keep just one based on their 2023 performances? Or, having premium draft capital available, would he let them both walk? Just threw that out there to cause mass panic and chaos amongst Bears fans. He'd never do that, or maybe he would. This new regime, we know for sure, are not afraid to let players the previous front office acquired walk in free agency. They also have premium draft capital in the 2024 and 2025 draft and a proven willingness to ship a fan favorite out for draft capital to help build this team in their image. As in most cases with player contract negotiations or roster construction with this tight-lipped front office, we will be left to speculate till we're blue in the face or something happens and we hear about it as breaking news from one of our favorite sports news outlets. We as fans may not like being left in the dark and waiting for news, but, like it or not, this new Chicago Bears front office, led by Ryan Poles, always has a contingency plan. Thank you for taking the time to tune into 3 Point Stance Podcast. Like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notifications to be notified when new content drops. Don't forget to follow Vil and the podcast on Twitter at 3 Point Stance Pod, and as we always say here at 3 Point Stance Podcast, stand for what you believe in. Written by Jonathan Vil Baskerville, creator and host of 3 Point Stance Podcast. All rights reserved.